I'm Abby Alonzo from Chat Sports. Got some juicy Tennessee Titans draft rumors, maybe trading up for a quarterback. We talked about it earlier this week on Titans Today, but we figured, hey, why not share it with the people on our draft channel? So before we get started, head down to the comments section and name the best quarterback in the 2023 NFL Draft. Welcome into Titans Today. I'm Abby Alonzo. Got lots of draft rumors for you. And hold on to your seats, brace yourselves, because some wild ones we're going to talk about today. Mike Tannenbaum released his first mock draft of the offseason, his third annual. And I'm just going to give you some context here on what this mock draft is, because it's not the traditional one. Tannenbaum said draft analyst mocks are true projections of what they believe will happen based on what they're hearing. My colleague Mel Kiper Jr. just unveiled his newest last week. We went over that one last week. But I'm going a different route with my third annual GM mock. I'm sliding into the general manager chair for each team with the first rounder and making my own picks. This isn't what I'm expecting, but rather how I'd personally approach each day one selection. And what follows is based off my own evaluations, preferences, and philosophies. There is your warning. Because, like I said, it is quite wild, some of the picks he chose. But he came out and said, look, this is not based off of anything I'm hearing. So hold on. None of this is technically realistic or true based off what he's hearing. This is solely just what he would do if he were the GM. So before we get into that, make sure to subscribe to stay in touch, up to date with all things the Titans are doing during the offseason. They've been a little bit quiet, made a few free agency signings. But boy, I feel like Ran Carthon is about to do something. You're going to want to know about it. We're almost to 6.5K. We're trying to hit that maybe within the next week. I have no doubt that could happen. We're at 6,402 right now. Bump those numbers up. Hit the sub button. Do yourself a favor. Let's get into it. So I told you guys, this mock draft, interesting. That's the only word I really can come up with. Bryce Young, CJ Stroud off the board. That's not new. That's those two guys are probably going to go off the board, whether in that order or vice versa. They're going soon. Will Anderson, we've seen him mocked to Arizona quite a few times. Will Levis to the Colts. Hendon Hooker to Seattle. This is when I stopped in my tracks and said, did I read this correctly? I sure did. He actually went off the board before Anthony Richardson in Tannenbaum's mock draft to Seattle. And look, I'm a Hendon Hooker fan, but all you've heard during this entire draft season and the offseason is, well, he's too injured. He's not going to go in the first round because his injury really hurt his draft stock. Apparently not according to Mike Tannenbaum, and honestly, he might be onto something. I like Hendon Hooker, but just not to Seattle. Tyree Wilson to the Lions, Christian Gonzalez to the Raiders, Myles Murphy to Atlanta, Peter Skoronski to the Bears, and Broderick Jones to Philadelphia. Again, the only real pick on there that was kind of stunning was Hendon Hooker. I'd love to see him in Tennessee. I just really don't see him going in the first round. No, nothing to who he is as a player. I just think teams are a little worried about that ACL injury and his age. Again, that was probably the only real whoa moment in that mock draft until I saw the Titans pick that Tannenbaum put. He mocked Anthony Richardson to Tennessee, which this is a first. I haven't heard anything about this one yet. I don't really know how I feel about it. I didn't put much thought into it until I read it. Again, quarterback out of Florida. Not bad. He's not a bad player. And before I explain why this might work, why it might not work, tell me what your one-word reaction would be if it's draft day and the Titans pick Anthony Richardson. What is the first word that comes to mind? Head down to the comment section and let me know. This is the explanation behind the decision to mock Anthony Richardson to Tennessee. Tannenbaum says, Ryan Tannehill turns 35 years old in July, and the early returns on 2022 third-rounder Malik Willis haven't been encouraging. The Titans make a lot of sense for Richardson. He has compelling upside but needs more time to develop, and Tennessee wouldn't have to rush him with Tannehill under contract for another year. Richardson started one full season in college, and his 53.8% completion percentage ranked 116th in the country last season. That must greatly improve for him to be an effective NFL quarterback. No college quarterback, however, broke more tackles as a runner in 2022 than Richardson with 22, and he showed off 4.43 second speed in the 40-yard dash at the combine. Plus, he has a huge arm. Richardson's ceiling is as high as that of any prospect in this class, and he does bring up some good points. Some strengths Richardson does have. He has the highest upside of any quarterback in this class, as Tannenbaum just said. That includes C.J. Stroud and Bryce Young, who are incredible quarterbacks. But when you're looking to take a quarterback and lead your team and kind of build the team, as we've seen Ran Carthon is doing, he is retooling this team. You want somebody who's got a lot of potential, who can continue to get better and better and better. He's got a high ceiling, a high upside. He's elite in size, speed, and his athletic ability. He's got a huge arm, outstanding arm strength. These are all pluses, but you got to weigh in the weaknesses as well. He's got to improve the pre-snap recognition, got to be a little bit more aware of the situations going on the field. Again, these are things, can you teach it? Can you really teach that kind of thing? Or is it just an instinct that comes in a good quarterback? He's got the upside. He's got the ability to grow. Can you get better at pre-snap recognition? I think so. Mechanics are bad and inconsistent. That, at this level, you really shouldn't have to focus on that too much. If you're getting drafted into the NFL, you shouldn't have to backtrack and try to fix all of your mechanics. Maybe a thing here and there, but not completely revamp all of your mechanics. And the accuracy is a little bit of a problem. So really, do the pros outweigh the cons in this scenario? I'm not sure they do. We'll take a look at his 2022 stats, his quarterback stats here. 76 completions for 327 attempts, 53.8 completion percentage. As Tannenbaum pointed out, that is not great compared to the other quarterbacks during the college season. 2,500 yards, 17 touchdowns to 9 interceptions. Okay, good. Let's look at his rushing stats, though, because this is where he has a strength. 103 carries, 654 yards, averaged 6.3 yards per carry, 9 touchdowns. The guy can move his feet. That is good for a Titans offense that right now doesn't have many receivers. So to have a running quarterback could be a plus to take some weight off of Derrick Henry. I know we talked about Lamar Jackson and how him being a running quarterback would be good for the Titans offense. But look, Richardson, best quarterback in the draft? No. Can use his feet, and that is a strength for a Titans offense that is lacking weapons right now. Should the Titans draft Anthony Richardson? Let me know down in the comments section. Type Y for yes, type N for no. And before we continue to talk about more draft rumors, let me tell you about our sponsor in Fanatics. They just dropped the NFL draft hats. They're pretty fire if you ask me. I really like the baseball cap. I've told y'all time and time again, I'm a big fan of baseball caps. They make bad hair days much, much better. And look, with the draft, you know the boys are going to be putting on their new team's caps. You can match them. You can match whoever the Titans decide to draft in this crazy offseason, crazy draft period. You can match them with these awesome Titans draft caps. Head to chatsports.com/Titans draft hats. Get you some fire Titans gear. All right, continuing on with the crazy rumors. Where would we be without crazy rumors? Nowhere, bored at home. The word on the street. Word on the street is that quarterback is not out of the question to be the draft position the Titans go after. It's not. That may come as a surprise to you, considering, Titans are at 11. How on earth do they land C.J. Stroud? Word on the street. They're working on it. They're working on trading up. Look, he's already met with the Titans. That was a private meeting, as well as the Panthers, Raiders, and Seahawks. Again, this would take a lot. I've said before it would take a lot that to be able to trade up for CJ Stroud, you're going to be paying a big bill. But it's been said time and time again that he is the number one guy on that draft board. And who could blame him? You look at his stats from this season, 66.3 completion percentage, 3,600 yards, 41 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Come on. For a franchise that needs a quarterback, this guy looks good. This is somebody you want to go after. And look, Ran Carthon said, talking about how he had gone to 3 pro days, Ohio State, BAMA, Kentucky, where you've got CJ Stroud, Bryce Young, Will Levis, heading to Florida for Anthony Richardson. He says you have to do your due diligence on everybody. You look at each of those schools, and they have other draftable players that are of some interest to us. But again, you have to know what is going before you and what's being picked after you. I've been to those 3 schools and will be going to my alma mater, Florida, when we leave from here. So he will be at Florida's pro day, I believe, on March 30th. Maybe looking at Anthony Richardson, according to Mike Tannenbaum. That's a potential there. But I think it's possible. I think they might be looking at some quarterbacks, and whether they want to admit it or not, and whether they're just going to say, oh, we're just doing our due diligence, there's other players that we want to see, I think it's possible. Should the Titans trade up for CJ Stroud? Be honest. If you think it's a great idea, it's a sneaky move, it'll cost a lot, but you love it, type T for trade. If you hate it, if you think it's stupid, if you don't understand it, type P for pass. I'm going to say, look, if they're really looking for a quarterback and they are high on CJ Stroud, that is not news. We've known that. Maybe they do trade up. Maybe you get your money's worth, and then you've got a franchise quarterback in CJ Stroud, who everyone loves, or maybe you don't trade up and a quarterback falls in your lap at 11. I don't really know if that would happen. Again, this mock draft really sent me for a loop, man. I sat there, I was like, how on earth do they land Anthony Richardson at 11? But it's possible. Again, you never know, and I like that Ran Carthon talked about, hey, we got to know who's going before us and who's going after. That's a big part of the scheming that goes on all within the NFL draft, but it is possible that maybe Will Levis, maybe Anthony Richardson fall to 11, or who knows, maybe it's all just hoopla and they're not even thinking about drafting a quarterback this year. They're riding it out with Ryan Tannehill and worrying about it next year. Anyway, as always, we appreciate you for watching. We'll keep you updated with all the draft rumors that come out this week, next week, all the way up until the draft. We'll keep you updated. Make sure you hit that sub button, and we'll see y'all soon.